What's up everybody and welcome to the Reaper Advanced VOD review. Now this VOD review is going to be a little bit different. Normally I do my own gameplay, however this time I have someone far better at Reaper that can show us the insights to how to play Reaper at a top 500 level in order to have the highest impact in our ranked matches. Renzoku is a tier 3 player with aspirations to be pro, and in this video, he's going to help us understand the decision making of a top 500 Reaper so that we can take that knowledge and apply it to our own games. All the examples and footage here are taken from high SR scrims. The synergy and the individual mechanics from both teams are extremely heightened. That being said, Renzoku still manages to shine even in this environment on Reaper, so let's jump in and figure out exactly what he does and how we can learn from him to better our own Reaper in our ranked matches. Now recently I rated Reaper as the best DPS to play in Season 19, and that still stands. Reaper has so much impact over every single game you play, and honestly, he can hard carry immensely by getting key pickups on tanks and even winning matchups against supports and DPS alike. That being said, when to go all in, press off an enemy, or just create that constant pressure is something that every Reaper needs to completely understand if they want to hard carry their games. Do yourself a favor and watch this Reaper guide to the end, because I guarantee you, you'll apply hundreds and hundreds of SR if you take every bit of knowledge from this VOD review and apply it to your own Reaper gameplay. Do you want in-depth guides telling you everything you need to know to improve? Then come give our website a shot. GameLeap.com has hundreds of guides over every character in the game to ensure that you're prepared for any meta. Every single guide is made by Grandmaster players, so you get the absolute best tips and strategies out there, all in the same spot. So what are you waiting for? Come check us out in the links down below. Now the first thing that you need to understand on Reaper is the lurk and pounce playstyle. Reaper ends fights extremely quickly and is all about the right opportunity for engagement. In the beginning phase of any team fight, you don't want to use your Wraith cooldown before you actually are proactive in trying to secure a kill. Renzoku will typically only use Wraith under these 3 reasons. 1, he wants to get his ammo back to secure a kill. 2, he wants to dodge key cooldowns by the enemy. Or 3, he wants to use his Wraith to get back to his team. We'll break down examples of each of the 3 later, but first, let me break down exactly what happened in this fight and the reason that we won it so convincingly here. Now notice Renzoku playing with his team here and heavily punishing both the Mei and the Orisa from trying to push into them. While the enemy Reaper is off to the right, not playing with his team, Renzoku playing with his team allowed a kill on the Orisa and a zonage of the enemy Mei. He then goes and chases down the Reaper that's already retreating and isolates that target. This is a really important pick here because once the enemy Reaper is dead, there's nothing to keep Renzoku in check, so then he instantly pivots towards focusing the enemy. You can see just how aggressive he goes up on the enemy, not afraid of any sort of punish, because there's simply not enough burst damage by the enemy team in order to actually shut him down. Reaper can close fights extremely fast, so once the primary threats are either zoned out or dead, he can hard commit onto the enemy team. In a sense, Reaper is an opportunist. If he finds the correct opportunity to go all in, he can try to get kills extremely quickly before the enemy team has any chance to stop him or react at all. Now in this next fight, Renzoku perfectly illustrates just how your lethality can overcome focus fire on you. If you hit enough shots, you gain enough lifesteal to not care about any sort of focus fire. Look at him instantly melt this Orisa and then follow up killing this Reaper. Renzoku's nearly perfect aim here allow him to close up this fight extremely quickly. Something that you really need to keep in mind though is that hitting these really close range shots definitely takes practice, so make sure that you practice trying to hit those uncomfortably close shots. While Reaper is fundamentally one of the easiest characters mechanically to play, perfecting those mechanics on Reaper can allow you to win matchups you have no right winning and end fights so fast that the enemy team can't even react. Just like Renzo did in this fight where he slid in, got some kills extremely quickly, and the enemy team didn't have any opportunity in order to shut him down or react to him. That's the power of Reaper's lethality, and it can be abused even more in ranked. Being able to kill a tank in a matter of seconds or 2-tap an enemy DPS means that the pressure is on them to shut you down, and you can completely dictate a game if they fail to do so. Now during this next engage, Renzoku's playing the high ground because he can easily drop down on the enemy team. A pull plus a bongo from his team and the enemy not focusing him at all allow him to easily drop behind the enemy team and ult extremely fast. No matter what CC or zoning tool the enemy team has, they will die so fast that it simply doesn't matter. Playing the high ground while the enemy team engages and looking for opportunities to drop down an ult on top of them can be a way to win a team fight instantly. Try to replicate this in your ranked matches. Reaper ults can be much more effective if they come by surprise. Simply wraithing in or walking at the enemy team can make your ultimates extremely telegraphed. A telegraphed ult by Reaper often ends in a CC or death. Catching them by surprise can lethal them before they have any chance to react at all. Now moving back to MaHxi Industries, I want to break down the first fight you saw at the very beginning of the video because Renzo does a lot of things that you might not think about when you're playing Reaper. I really want to break down this fight in slow motion so you can understand exactly what he does to honestly hard carry this fight so that you could do the same in all of your ranked Reaper matches. Now once the team pushes up the left side, they get pulled and the enemy team uses a pull Mei combo. He retreats to natural cover using his Wraith. That being said, he instantly comes out of it because he wants to play in this box and push damage into anything that tries to contest him. He absolutely shreds the enemy Orisa and puts damage into both the Reaper and the Mei as well. Notice how he stops inside natural cover for a second in order to get his cooldowns back and his ammo back. Reaper's all about engaging rapidly with intent, and you definitely don't want to re-engage until you have your cooldowns online and a full magazine. That being said, once a Reaper's at maximum strength, you can feel weakness in the enemy team and you hard commit onto them. This allows you to confirm kills rapidly, much like almost every fight we've seen Renzo take as Reaper. Now as the enemy team re-engages, Renzo doesn't want to get too aggressive. He doesn't want to have to use his cooldowns unnecessarily. As long as Renzo has his Wraith cooldown, he's not going to be easily punished and he can dish out consistent damage from around his team. That being said, the enemy Ryan pushes way too far onto his Orisa and he can easily punish. Renzoku doesn't want to play too aggressive here because he knows that he's one of the only things zoning away the enemy Reaper and the enemy Mei. It's his job to contest these characters and keep them away from his tanks. If he dies, there'll be nothing to contest these DPS and the enemy will surely be able to get a pick. Essentially, a common theme throughout all these matches is Renzoku's constant attention to the enemy DPS. He keeps track of where they are, what they're doing, and makes every effort to shut them down. He knows just how much the enemy DPS can do, and he makes a conscious effort to try and shut them down completely so that he can perform. Once the enemy DPS are dead, it frees up so much space for him and his tanks. Time and time again, the enemy Reaper went for too proactive of a play, and Renzoku punished it again and again. Keep in mind that while Reaper can play proactive, he also plays an insanely good defensive game while you're waiting for your opportunity to engage. If you ever see an opportunity, you can easily teleport and be in the enemy team's backline at a moment's notice. Let's break down some really smart teleportation use by Renzo so that you can understand just how versatile this ability is. In fact, after I watched this, I started doing it in every single Reaper game I came across, and it actually won me tons of games because I got additional stackers in a way that I never thought possible. There's only one other Reaper tip that had a bigger impact on me than this tip, and that tip is on GameLeap.com. GameLeap.com has in-depth Reaper guides and advanced concepts handcrafted by some of the best coaches in Overwatch. They're dedicated to make sure that you know the ins and outs of Reaper or any DPS character that you want to play from Season 19 going forward. We're so confident that GameLeap will help you that we offer a 10-day money-back guarantee. Well, what are you waiting for? Come check us out risk-free in the links here. Now, one of the ways that Renzo's used teleport is not just to flank into the enemy backline. In fact, Renzo doesn't flank very often with teleport comparatively to many other Reapers. What he will do, however, is catching enemy characters and preventing them from retreating. The second they have any sort of advantage, he'll teleport behind the enemy and create a squeeze play. In this way, he completely blocks off any sort of potential retreat. Time and time again, Renzo has caught enemy Lucios, Doomfists, or Reapers trying to flee after the fight is lost. He's gotten staggers and extra ultimate charge just by doing this simple tactic. When you know that the fight is for sure won, don't be afraid to teleport in the backline simply to prevent the enemy team from retreating. Keep in mind that when the enemy team is down so many people, Reaper isn't afraid of being punished. Now for the last breakdown, I'm going to slow-mo a recontest by Renzoku and his team. I want you to really pay attention to everything I've been talking about and just how much Renzoku aggressively tries to contest the enemy DPS. He knows that in the mid-fight, DPS are the hardest carry in the game, so let's break down exactly what Renzoku does in order to shut them down. So right off the bat, during the engage, the Reaper is far too forward and forced to retreat back to his team. But I want you to take notice about just how hard Renzoku focuses the enemy Reaper. After the enemy Reaper gets beat, he pushes out of the cubby and tries to get some work done. Renzoku is actively watching him, and even when he uses Wraith, he's following this Reaper around the map. Essentially, he's trying to zone the Reaper away, and his primary target is definitely the Reaper. Once the Reaper is too far away, he turns to focus the easy target. That being said, he's always looking for an opportunity in order to capitalize on the Reaper. He sees that the Reaper is on the high ground, so he instantly, aggressively teleports to contest the Reaper. He then pumps the Reaper with a couple of shots to zone the Reaper away. With the enemy team reeling and no Reaper to contest him, Renzo does the last bit of damage in order to get his ult and uses the pressure in combination with his ult to close this team fight definitively. Essentially, every single move Renzo made had a purpose. I'm gonna pause it and I want you to take a look at the enemy team's ult charge. Look at just how close the enemy Reaper was to getting his own Death Blossom. If Renzo allowed the Reaper even a little bit more space, he would have easily got his Death Blossom, and with Orisa, Sigma, and Mayo on the horizon, the enemy team could have easily capped that point right then and there. However, due to disciplined play and really understanding your win condition in fights, Renzo managed to actually hard carry this fight and prevent the enemy team from capping that point even when they re-engaged after they already got 2 ticks. All in all, I hope this guide has been extremely helpful in helping you understand some key tips and tricks on Reaper and how to really pop off in your ranked matches. Big thanks to Renzoku Martin for supplying the footage, as well as being a top tier Reaper that we can all learn from. His Twitch link will be in the description down below, so be sure to check him out. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time.